It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Human error. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
can't change me. I am stronger than you could ever hope to be. You don't deceive me. I see through some screen. Blow away your
It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and seeking human victims.
It always brings truth to run in the night. They're hunting for straight down. Something's right, demon in my chest. Came to the bed, I've got voices in my head. 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 Just came to the bed, I've got voices in my head. Voices in my head. Voices in my head. Voices in my head. I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? Now you're dealing in diamonds. Don't you see that I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, you are getting everything. Now you're dealing in diamonds. Don't you see that I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, you are getting everything. 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see I'm shining?
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Welcome back, folks, to our second best of three of the day. It's WISLA All In versus HONORIS, two teams, both of which are not necessarily unknown, but new to the Counter-Strike scene. Not in terms of the players, but in terms of the teams themselves. The composition of players, I suppose. As you have got, of course, the WISLA side with Taz, Neo. I mean, two legendary names of the Counter-Strike scene. Likewise, on HONORIS, you've got some known names as well, particularly Spiro, a player we've seen a lot of over the last couple of years. Mixed in then from there, both teams serve a variety of talented younger players and experienced players alike. One thing's for sure, this is going to be quite the best of three, is there really is no history on these two teams. They just haven't played a lot of Counter-Strike, really, as a team yet. They're just so new.
Which is weird. It being a Polish domestic scene, you've got lots of Polish championships. And these two teams seemingly just go unmatched. Of course, the depth of talent doesn't obviously end at Spero. You've got names like Jedka, big name over the course of the last couple of years. Stomp as well, somebody that if you frequent online Counter-Strike, you'd have definitely seen him take center stage at some point. Minio as well. Really, all of these players, with a couple of exceptions, have had their sort of claim inside the Polish scene at one point or another. But Vertigo, a bit of a jack-in-the-box to start things off, Flakes. That is HONORIS' pick. I think they're slight underdogs coming into this one. They want to mix things up ever so slightly. Vertigo, what a way to do it. A lot of the time, teams don't even bother banning out Vertigo, just as a little touch in the map pool, knowing that their opponents aren't going to pick it. If you're both confident enough, then why not leave it in? But then Vertigo, Nuke, and Train. So some of the more sidelined maps in CS taking center stage for this series.
I love the fact that we are starting on Vertigo too. It's just classic Vertigo matchup as well. Two teams who are more than likely to be playing looser CS. It's the perfect map for that sort of play. It's always good fun. The map that's grown on me actually a fair bit. I've got to say I was not a huge fan of it when it first came out, but over time, small subtle changes have made it the map that it is today.
And that's what happened with Cobblestone and Overpass. People do forget. Those maps started out absolutely abysmal. Valve made those tinkers and changes that made them some of the most loved maps in CS. Here we go then. Straight onto this A bomb site, trading these early frags. The smokes are perfect, and it gifts them that early bomb plant.
Yeah, it's a really nice setup as well. I mean, classic Vertigo. On your T side, you rush a ramp, take full control, grab a plant, and then immediately withdraw. It's so difficult to retake. Neo is going to be the key player here because he needs to have an impact towards ramp, but absolutely nothing is found. It's just drive-bys, Glocks, left, right, and center. He's Rico, last man standing, gets a tasty one-tap, but nothing more, as it will be a WISLA all-in round to kick things off.
A site is definitely difficult in its approach for a CT team. There's very little coverage on that side of things. Not a lot of points of contention. You've got to hold it either exceptionally aggressive or really, really passive. They went for the latter, got caught off guard by the smokes. Of course, in the pistol round, you're not expecting the T side to be as utility heavy as perhaps around like this. Deeper into the half, you're not expecting those 2-3 smokes coming into full force. That's something that's come directly from the drawing board to the server from that T side. And now we see the stalemate, the classic in Counter-Strike, just waiting for the mistakes. Maybe trying to sniff out a stack. There isn't one this time. A very standard approach from HONORIS. And here come those smokes to take some early control. Looks like Taz should get caught off guard here. The Deagle doesn't pay dividends, only doing a tiny bit of damage. Remember, if that Galil drops, then Taz has a great claim on that A-bomb site. Eliminates one prong of the prod of that pincer onto A. This looks like a very simple round. I really do love that pinch from mid as well. The smokes were perfectly placed, applying just heavy pressure to Neo, and it would have also been Taz on that A-bomb site. Nowhere really to wriggle and move, and they just get locked into place and shot in the face. 2-0.
Yeah, the perfect start for WISLA all in. Now looking to grab a third easy one as well, and just USPs. I imagine nothing more. HONORIS should be able to give up a 3-0 here, and from there, that's when the real competition starts. They'll be on their gun round. Has to be said, I did take a look into the HONORIS history, and one of the results that stood out to me, obviously I know the team being British and all, the endpoint lineup, 16-5 to HONORIS in the best of one recently. Not quite a result I was expecting to see.
These guys?
Yeah, HONORIS. It was a result I wasn't quite thinking we would find, to be honest.
No, that's definitely surprising. That's weak.
Let's see if I can bring that up again on HLTV. Perhaps we could talk about that specific event in just a second here. But yeah, it was something I just took a cursory look through HLTV this morning, and it wasn't just that result. There were a couple of them that specifically towards both of these teams were quite surprising, which I think just demonstrates that both of these teams being so new haven't quite settled in yet. Looking particularly...
Team, yeah, I'm looking through the stats now, and there are a lot of losses on the table.
They did beat Complexity 16-6 though. So, it's hit or miss.
Yeah, no, certainly. And then getting handed a 2-0 to Complexity, which is what you'd expect to happen. But a little best of one win definitely pumps a little bit of wind into your sails. Remember, this is all best of threes throughout the LOOT.BET Season 7. So you're certainly... It's not a one and done in terms of the maps. This is a good round nonetheless. Stomp popping in a lot of those early frags. 2 quick kills towards the A-bomb site, and there's Neo to shut away another one. Just Sparrow left. He's gunning for this B-bomb site. The nades don't connect, and Neo's right on target, right on time. 1-3. Looked all too easy.
Nice way to start things off, and it's good to see them get an early round here. Just builds up a bit of confidence that they actually are here to play. Like you say, I think a big difference between a best of one and a best of three. The only point I would say, just looking sort of more into the history of these two teams that I think is relevant, is that WISLA Krakow, or WISLA All In as we put them here, they have also beaten some really good teams, albeit a lot of it has been a best of one setting. Being able to take maps off the likes of Alternate Attacks, Unicorns of Love, the Prosto team, those are solid teams.
Yeah, you dig into the stats a little bit, and it does look a little bit worrying on paper when you look at some of these score lines. Yeah, 16 forward by endpoints. What's this from Complexity? There's a 16-3 and a 16-8 against Complexity. Budapest 5 with a 16-8 as well. These are very one-sided maps. Contact 16-16 on Nuke, which is the map that's coming up next. So some worrying results, but the name power and the stock that we put in those teams is definitely higher than this Polish powerhouse that we're seeing. Interesting 1v1, successfully taken by Stomp. And another close round here on Vertigo.
Fnatic gave that a really good go. Not only with the first go, but look at the second kill he finds. Tries to get the Stomp, doesn't realize that Rico's actually pushing him, but quickly adjusts and finds that frag as well. This could quite easily have been a 3v1 for him. Really nicely played, and ultimately puts the second round on the board for our CT side, so starts to already bring things just much closer together.
When you see him isolating those CTs in a 1 versus 3 like that, it does make you worry about some of the teamwork and coordination on HONORIS. He's definitely segregated them in some respects, but allowing yourselves to get split up like that leaves you very open to some of these young guns to take full advantage. It's 2-3 nonetheless. The CTs get away with murder in the clutch, but as we get further into this game, I need to see them playing a lot more coordinated, more like a team. Otherwise, this could all be over very quickly. So far, nice and competitive.
Once again, WISLA looking to test this A site hold. A lot of their utility early on, but not really making too much of a push here. In 35 seconds or so, they are eventually going to have to bite the bullet and make a play. That's where Prism comes into action, just waltzes to the right of the smoke. Double kill for him so far, looks for a third, finally traded, but it's too little too late. HONORIS are doing all of the work here.
Yeah, that shutdown was very obvious. WISLA get nowhere near the A-bomb site. It's just stuck on ramp, and that's exactly the CT's job. You've got to get them locked into those choke points. Hitting the headshots is the best way to do it. Utility's another. Temporary measure. 3-3 nonetheless, and starting off decent on the CT side, I must say. Setting up the smokes over towards that ramp area again. Vertigo does seem to be all about this early utility to prevent A rushes and just holding on to that single Molotov. Of course, those flashbangs for any potential retake. Vertigo is one of those maps where you will see more retake scenarios on average. Just because that A bomb site is so open, so easy to take. And respectively harder to retake. The AWP forced away. That standard angle, but the MP9 comes into play nonetheless. 2 quick kills. And WISLA trying to go for the wrap on the B bomb site. Almost getting shut down. Here's the MP9 again. Longer range. And it's another shutaway, Flakes. 4 rounds here from HONORIS.
Yeah, if anything, this is starting to look
It's
really
amazing
lopsided.
how much I love betting
To the
on
other direction.
esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Really decisive results, as I was starting to hint at there. HONORIS 4 rounds back to back here, been really strong with these rifles.
We've not seen much back and forth play from this T side. Not taken a round in a little while. Here's another opportunity. Without the OWP, though, which seems to be quite a prevalent factor for most teams on this specific map. That AWP presence, especially towards A ramp. Those longer distance angles. If you're going to want to contend with Stomp over towards mid, you're either going to have to Molotov him and flash him out of place. Exactly what happens here. But this response is really interesting. HONORIS bunching together. This might absolutely work. Jedka hits the shots. Anyway, 2 versus 4.
They'll be looking just to hold this angle, see if you can catch them on the cross. And, well, that's good. What was that, about a 2v4 I heard? Because it sounds like it's a 2v2. Stomp just coming in and making it as simple as ever.
That's really badly played. Lining up in that sort of an angle where you know that the AWP is maybe going to be around those corners gives HONORIS a real chance in this one. It all comes down to this frag from Neo, which he cannot find. Makes Stomp's job a lot harder. Needs a massive quad kill in this one. Every opportunity that Jedka can ace his fellow Poles. And Stomp's just running out of time. He's going to bail with that AWP. It's a hefty investment. He definitely doesn't want to lose to a round that he cannot win. 4-4. A round that WISLA definitely needed there. But really just Jedka doing everything, punishing that mid push, hyper aware. Just look at this lineup. They're asking to get just flattered at that stage.
It's just a bit of an odd game, really, isn't it? What a start so far. The
Vertigo
collab with
always
it all,
seems a
but
little
it's
bit odd.
always a little bit nuts, isn't it? Always is.
I think just because of the dynamic of Vertigo, still, even though it's been in the map pool for how long? Maybe even a year now. It's been in the map pool for a long time, much longer than I think people probably would realize. A lot of teams still don't have a massive amount of experience. You think of a map like Mirage, previously CS_Strike. You'd have been playing on that map for 10 years. Dust 2, lots of these players have been playing on that map for 10 to 15 years. Vertigo, only playing on this one for a year or so. That's really comparatively less time, but this is an interesting boost, Flakes. That gives them so much visual all the way into mid. Of course, it can be punished from B stairs. They're not going to get lucky this time. They're not going to get unlucky this time either. The worst case scenario is that boost gets thwarted, it gets spotted. These sort of creative boosts often rear their heads in the newer maps. In-game leaders, they'll be spending time on the practice servers trying to find out where they can maybe abuse setups, any creative smokes, whereas on some of these longer tenured maps, we know all the tricks.
That's the thing like Dust 2, always reinventing the wheel, but not much more you can do differently. We'll go over, still very much fresh. The battle rages on now. Bomber's gone down on towards A, and time again, it's WISLA going for this passive setup, withdrawing after plant. Neo looking to bait the defuse, but instantly one tapped away. And Spear and Fanatic will both peek, and it will be job done for the T side. Feels like once they get the bomb down, they're in a safe spot.
Yeah.
But it's getting the bomb down that they struggle with.
Exactly. And no massive mistakes there from HONORIS. As soon as they go a player down on the A bomb site, you see Prism trying to prompt that aggression, trying to find that extra frag. He either has to go towards ramp or fall away, and he has to pick one or the other, and moving towards that smoke is a great play. It doesn't pay dividends or find that frag, but I like to see the cogs turning nonetheless, and his decision-making's been good on the A-bomb site. Next time if he finds the frags, that can definitely catch WISLA by surprise. And he's got so much leverage onto that A-bomb site as well. As soon as he gets into that sidelining position, that prevents the bomb from going down, gives HONORIS so much more space to activate any sort of a retake. Nowadays in Vertigo, that flank is much less effective since it seemingly comes almost every single time. They'll always be putting a second member on the aggressive from behind. You've almost got a disadvantage as you peek through that A box, just knowing that someone's going to be hard focused on that side of the map. This time it's just the pistols getting crushed. Nothing sensational, nothing to scream about. It's 4-6.
Does, of course, make sure WISLA retain a gap here, which is something they struggled to keep in the past. This gun round goes their way, that should allow them to seal a lead here in this first half and potentially even break away for their 8th round.
And you know what I like? We're already 10 rounds in. We've seen high pace from this T side, and that seems to be what has worked so far in all of the T sides today. We saw in that Scade matchup before, playing slow, losing 8 rounds in a row, just not able to get that momentum going. As soon as they flick the switch and turn that pace up, that's when they start winning the rounds. WISLA's definitely on the right foot here. And this has been a very quick map so far. And they're 6-4 up, so they can't really shrug this one off. They've got to be kind of happy. Of course, this is slightly more T-sided, in my opinion, than some of the other maps that we would see in the pool. So you're not out of the woods with just 6. Nevertheless, options are open.
Prism just playing almost his cards very close to his chest there. Not wanting to peek out, get too aggressive, rather just tuck into the box, play to the back of the smoke that his teammate is placed just in front, almost act as a shroud. The problem is, how long will he last? The answer, a matter of seconds. Already HONORIS losing one, as it will be just another A play. Or will it? 25 seconds to go. We're seeing WISLA back away. It looks like it is going to be a quick sprint to B. Neo now becomes the man of the hour. What can he do to hold on? He's going to hear them running at him. At least he should be good for one kill here, surely. Makes it to a second, in fact, and drops the bomb. That could be huge. Neo may have just done enough to win the round here.
There's so little time on this bomb flakes that I think that Rekio could be able to do everything. Catches Hades in the open, and now Taz has to respond. He misses the shot, and it's WISLA back to winning ways. It definitely looked like Neo had done his job and more, even doing damage onto the third. Look at this switch up after he kills Fnatic here. Lots of damage dealt onto the Mac-10, but just unable to get the job done. Hades hits both of their headshots. Not much more you can do about that one if you're Taz. He's holding pretty much the picture-perfect angle as well, with a bomb down in the open. That is, yeah, a bit of a heartbreaking situation. Definitely one that could have been put on the board for the CTs. And they're stuck without a proper buy. Only the Deagles on their CT side. And it's time to see what they can do. See how they play from behind.
Problem is they are stuck behind a smoke. It's a little awkward. Make anything happen here, just picked apart, unfortunately. WISLA vultures looking for their next meal, it seems. HONORIS struggling here. I mean, great set of 4 rounds, don't get me wrong, but WISLA have just stepped up to the plate. They found the crack in the CT side and used and abused it to double up to 8. There's no way Stomp can do anything at all here.
No, this is going firmly the T-side's way. All of these situations seem to be falling in their direction. As you said, Stomp has been completely counted out of this situation. The best case scenario is to escape with an AK-47, and that's only a pipe dream. 8-4. This is when things start to get scary. 10 rounds, that's definitely too much. 8-7 still a possibility. If HONORIS can get to 6 or 7, I think they'll plump for that, especially at this point in the game when they're going to be 8-4 down. As you said, doubling up the rounds with that CT side. On Vertigo, you're never down and out. It's so hard to hold that A-bomb site, as I previously said. That this could be definitely a tale of two cities. We'll see what HONORIS can do now with a full buy. You see a complete arsenal of nades. 4 smokes. Stomp is stuck. With only, well, with buying a Kevlar along with his AWP. So no smoke, no Molotov for him. Everybody else with a fairly hefty bank of util. Oh, and this is the boost. This is so creative. That is straight from Reddit. He finds a quick kill and it gets traded straight back 3 times as hard. But WISLA, they put their homework in.
All they have to do now is ensure they don't give up any silly frags for the last 2 remaining players. Neo, unfortunately, does fall in the process of that. As has to be careful. If he hits the deck here, you're looking at 2v2 at a bomb plant as well. Just get mollied out of position, baited into tapping a dead body, I believe, in fact. Far from ideal, but I think he's bought just enough time to get the rotations in from his teammate, which is going to be critical here because they need to deny the plant. That's going to be the main objective. Not only that, but they don't want this to become a 2v2. As Jacket again, another headshot for him, spams away at Taz. You can just a Stomp and Prism now. Prism wants to get up close and personal. It comes back to the point of the plant as we talked about. Position of Prism likely known now. 47 HP in a dream. Stomp just trying to play Overwatch here with an AWP, but he's just giving no opportunity at all.
The kills quick end to that round. It felt like as soon as Taz died, that could have been the beginning of the end of that B-bomb site. That was the run boost that really started things off. Absolutely love to see it. 8-5. Nonetheless, they don't merit the round even off the back of that quick opening frag. HONORIS were able to take 3 really early kills, though, and this one seems to be, again, coming down to the firepower. We've seen a couple of pretty standard plays, nothing massively out of the box, with the exception of that single run boost, I'd say. Another pause coming through, but still, WISLA keeping the pace up, keeping the pressure up. They've been incredibly quick into these rounds. Don't think we've seen many go below the 45-second mark. They've been gunning instantly to try and achieve those openings, and most of the time they've been finding them. This one is a technical pause, unless we're playing with 2 Sparrows.
I wonder what you have to be talking about if you're WISLA right now. Also, despite the fact that you're trying to recover the duplicated Spiro.
I was going to go for a stupid joke. I was going to say, who would be easier to beat in a fight? 5 little Sparrows or 1 big Sparrow?
That's a good question. I would look at it more like 100 miniature
It's a terrible
Spiros.
question. But...
Or 1 giant Spiro. Here's a better question, right?
Go on.
100 mini Neos or 1 big Pasha biceps?
I think, and I did take some proper thinking time here, but my
I don't know if that's more worrying than the question
exceptionally
itself.
Smart. I was sat in silence, just thinking, and I'm like, dude, I'm taking way too long to think of my answer here. And I've even stalled for even more time. I don't know. I always listen to those questions and think that you'd just be able to kick all the mini Neos out of the way. So one big Pasha, even 1 normal size Pasha, I just get destroyed. I'm just a nerd flakes. I just get wrecked.
I have nothing more to say.
They always say that filling technical pauses is my speciality. They don't. Nobody says that.
Yeah, it's a natural talent you have, I think. That's for sure. That said, all jokes aside, 8 rounds for your T-side Vertigo. I do think you could be very happy with this, so assuming they can get Spiro back in the game, get everything settled there, I would imagine they're going to be feeling pretty comfortable about their half so far. And yes, they've lost a few clutch rounds, but all things considered, they're playing for bonuses at this point. I think 8 rounds is the perfect platform for their second half.
Yeah, I definitely think that they're decently poised. I think since they were 8-4 up, they'd be half expecting 1 more. That's the little fallacy that you get when you lead. We saw that earlier in the Skade game again, being 8-1 up and then it resorting to 8-7, which is a just below standard scoreline. You're expecting more. You're wanting those 12 rounds. Losing a couple of rounds here, it's a momentum switch. Momentum is definitely a real thing here in CS. Plays a massive mental game. As we get back into this one in the next few moments, hopefully, we'll hopefully hit the ground running. You see that HONORIS really just doesn't have a lot of money. Obviously, that was a round that they were able to do something with. Prism's got the AK in hand, but nobody else has gone for that investment yet. On the CT side, you're looking at a platform of, well, $4,500 to try and go for a full buy. They've not got anything near that, Flakes. 3 players, either 3,500 or below. Neo's not got much more. Prism's the only person who's going to have anywhere close to an ideal buy, and even that is without the lion's share of the utility that he would want.
It looks like the issue is in fact with Stomp and not with Spiro. Stomp is having a network issue of some variety.
Someone stomped on his internet.
Far from ideal. It's like the classic. What I can't remember what tournament it was. I won't mention their name for obvious reasons. But there was an event where someone, I think it was a photographer at a LAN event, tricked over a power cable for a computer during a best of 3.
No, I remember this.
You Google it, you'll find the event. It was some interesting tale.
These things happen online and at LAN. I know that we've both been at LANs and had tremendous delays.
Oh, I've had all kinds of
Usually
shenanigans
online
happen
as
at
well.
LAN.
Oh no, I bet you have.
I think
I've heard
the
of most of
highlight
your lads.
the highlight was we had our producer fall asleep on us once. So we had like someone
Really?
had to-
Oh no, that's not good.
my co-caster had
That's
to get
not
up,
good.
walk over to production, tap on his shoulder, and then do the throw to the break. It was great. Very interesting.
That is, yeah, definitely not ideal.
Trying to think of
I'm
any
pretty sure I can guess what event that would have been at as well.
funny
I'm
player
pretty
stories.
Sure I can guess.
Tell you what, here's a funny story for you. I learnt this during IEM Katowice. Fun fact for you, I'm sure everybody knows this based on the marketing from FaZe, that G Fuel is kind of their go-to thing, or was their go-to thing back then. I'm not sure if it's changed now. They were a big G Fuel team. Everyone loved G Fuel. Did you know that if you put G Fuel in a shaker, shake it, and then leave the lid tightened, approximately 20 minutes into a best of 3, that G Fuel shaker will explode? It went everywhere.
I'm getting deja vu right now, or this is exactly how we filled our last technical timeout, but I feel like it's the latter.
I feel like it probably is. It's one of my go-to stories for.
Any regular viewers will know this story.
Yeah. It's always a funny one for me. That, and obviously there is the Astralis love for bananas. I've never met a team who love eating bananas during a best of 3 so much. Like you speak to some teams and they're like, obviously this is back in my league upstage when I used to be a bit of an admin. And some teams will be like, oh, hey, yeah, can you get us a Red Bull or some water? And then you have Astralis and they're like, yeah, we want some bananas. Can you just get us like a bunch of bananas? The healthy lifestyle.
Remove all those labels. You've got to have somebody on standby to tape over the labels. Luckily, a banana, you don't have that problem.
True. Does make life easy.
LAN is fun. You've got a lot of LAN shenanigans, especially if you've done like a bunch over the years. Lots of studio events, lots of things. No two LANs are the same. You always have your little stories, you always remember what goes wrong, never remember what goes right. I think that's the difference between working in front of the camera and being a spectator. Is as a spectator, you remember the big plays, everything that goes right. Us guys remember what happens in the green room, what goes wrong.
I remember passing out on stream once. That was the highlight of my trip to Barcelona. Yeah, in the middle of a. That was you. Oh, no. I can't think. I think this was like 2018. I had a really bad time just at the event in general, just sort of struggling with sickness. And all of a sudden I was casting a map and then everything went black. And next thing you know, my co-caster's like next to me and I've got like the other members of talent that were around me and they were all like, he's like died because I just like completely like just killed over. And then like 3 seconds later sat up again and everything was fine. It was just sort of 3 seconds of death.
It
Interesting
can be an
time.
intense job at times. Either way, we're going to take the intensity out of this one and throw to a break while we resolve this technical issue. Be back in a minute.
Jack it up.
Welcome back, folks. We are alive and kicking with the map 1 of this best of 3. It is, of course, HONORIS versus WISLA All In. Overpass is the map next, I believe.
No,
Vertigo,
it's Vertigo. Oh,
is the
no,
map
no,
now.
no, this
Trust me,
one's
I styled
Vertigo.
out of it. We got it.
Not really, because Overpass is not in this series.
I
but
swear it's the
I'll
second map.
just throw you under the bus now.
Oh, goddamn. It looks the same.
Either way, yeah. It's got similar amounts of syllables, maybe. I'm not sure. 5 to 8, either way. Back into the action. This break of pace, not too sure who this is going to favor. Maybe nobody. I don't think that there was any massive momentum before we went into that break. Just slightly, but HONORIS was also on the backswing. So I think that you could make a bit of an argument for everybody. In the same space, make an argument for nobody. Taz up close, needs some shots. There's the swing, and it's only one. A 3 versus 2, but Neo's still alive, full HP. And when's he going to release that nade? This could be massive. He throws it, but it's a bit too narrow. Does heavy damage. Hades would have been by far the best target. Still a 2v3.
I think I want to make you a little sign. We've just sat on the fence on it and put it under your seat because you just... it affects everyone, but it also affects no one at the same time. It's some real intensity to the round there, Squid. Who knows what could possibly go on? Maybe he'll get killed, maybe he won't. I don't know. It is, of course, going to be a 2v1. Or is it? There's your answer. WISLA will pick up the round. It will be a 9th on the board. And they continue to grow. Or do they?
I blame Twitch chat. Twitch chat bullies me every time I share my opinion and I'm wrong. So I'm never sharing an opinion again on the
The trick, Squid, is to not be wrong. I'll let you in a little secret.
But the thing about me is I just know nothing about Counter-Strike. I'm just kind of styling it right now and nobody's noticed. I feel like the world's biggest fraud because I just suck. I'm just not very good.
Never have truer words been said. You knock on his head and it's just like an empty shell. That said, early kill for WISLA comes through. Spear with a second as well. This is looking pretty disastrous so far, but then Taz, the man, the myth, the legend, he steps into the server, gets a triple kill, and that pulls things right back into play for the HONORIS side as we look at a stop-motion display of what could possibly have gone on. There we go, back to normality. 2 versus 3. See, Taz looking for more, and he gets away with it, going for the ace play at this point, finally shut down. But is it too little too late?
I think overall, quite a powerful half for WISLA. 9 rounds, pretty damn decent. Taz doing a good job at the end of pulling it back. 450 damage there. Massively quiet half, but doubling up his kills in just a matter of seconds. That's what we see from the captain. 9 to 6. See a bit of a kill disparity there on the scoreboard. Jedka massively leading the way. 18 kills, That's a big half from him as we get through to the second side here on Vertigo.
It's a great little moment to step up there at the end from Taz. Hopefully we can see a little bit more of that vintage play throughout the rest of this map and respective series.
The tough, tricky thing about this one is nobody's massively leading at this point. A pistol round is definitely a swing, and I would favor HONORIS at this stage. It really does all come down to this pistol. Another will they, won't they? As we hit 1 minute 20 in this round. Pair of smokes here for HONORIS. Usually this means it's going to be a bit of an A play. Usually if you're going towards that B bomb site, you want the majority of Kevlar. You're maybe not looking for 2 smokes, but here come the shots. And Hades just gets prompted and forced back. 7 HP. And Fnatic really has to do most of the damage.
Seconds or so to work with. HONORIS' A play starts to take hold here as they all come from side lane. It's ballsy because it's just all out Glock duels. Try and seal the deal here. Follow-up smokes do come through though. This is where the plant gets guaranteed and the round starts to get a little scary. As they're so embedded into the backside, there's just simply nothing that WISLA can do. Minio becomes the only player left in the server for the CT side. He drops like a fly. And it will be one more round for the HONORIS side.
Great round all over. Much needed round as well. That pistol, you see the odd swing. WISLA supposedly massive favorites in this one. I wouldn't say that it's as close cut as that. I'd say it's closer cut, in fact. 2 Mac 10s. And oh no, look at Stomp. I think he might have timed out Flakes. I think we might be going back to the break screen.
Yeah, sounds like it. We've seen the chit-chat come through on our end and the freeze, of course, for you guys at home. It looks like he's undergoing some problems, and I wonder, do HONORIS actually have a substitute player?
They've got to. There are so many Polish players out there. All they have to do is pick one of them, get them into the server. It's a little bit of a mixed squad anyway, so I'm not sure. Of course, they've got a little bit of tenure with them, but it's definitely not legendary tenure where we're talking about many years of play. This one seems to be all but resolved fairly quickly, maybe. As we get back into the action here, 7-9. That was
fun fact for you, by the way.
Technical pause ever.
WISLA Krakow have got a very tight schedule today. They have an ESCA MDL game in 1 hour and 46 minutes time.
Okay, well, not to I'm trying to think of a nice way to say this. I don't know if they're going to make that.
Seems like they might have put themselves on a bit of an aggressive schedule for a best of 3. Perhaps hoping for a quick 2-0 after all.
To 9. This is when the score might tighten, especially with WISLA going for this force buy in this scenario. Of course, it's Deagles in hand. No guarantee that they win around like this. And if they don't, it might be 9-9, considering they'll have to take an eco in the next. Still more than a minute on the board. And HONORIS just throwing a couple of nades into this A-bombs, into this B-bomb site even. The nades over towards A in the meantime. They're really spreading their approach all over this map. You saw Prism putting a little bit of emphasis over towards A. The rest of the squad towards the curly letter. Now they've regrouped, regained control. Up towards ramp and Hades awaits.
Zuri slips into action now, finds not only one, but opportunity for a second. Unfortunately, unable to capitalize on it, will be just traded away as Jekka Very similar circumstance as well. It's a great first frag, but needs to do more. Needs a second kill at minimum, perhaps a rifle that he can find. Best time to peek is when his opponent is planting, but unfortunately for him, he gets a glilled to the face, leaving just Spiro, the only player left in the server. His pistols, unfortunately, haven't been able to accomplish anything at all.
The main sticking point for Sparrow here is he hasn't got that defuse kit, so he needs to hit this bullet right here, right now, and stomp a ballsy peek. But he gets away with it. 8-9. Just love that. I love this first tap. Look how crispy this is. Lovely one, Deegs. Just can't close.
All starting to link together here now. Only one round the difference after all. Unfortunately, there's going to be another pause coming through. Hopefully we can dive back into this one sooner rather than later. This one of a tactical nature, thankfully, not of a technical nature. You can see that HONORIS 2 rounds back-to-back here. They've had the perfect start. Interestingly enough, WISLA have decided to force up again rather than take the full eco and go to rifles.
Massively disagree with this. Of course, as a fan of pretty standard Counter-Strike, I think you have to kind of disagree with this sort of approach. Yes, they had a closer round in the last, but HONORIS is still building up a bit of a bank, and this would have been the ideal bonus round coming up. Yeah, you give away a little bit of ground, but there go the kills nonetheless, and Neo's still stuck with the Deagle. So that definitely isolates matters. That nade doesn't massively connect. With Fnatic down to just 2 HP, I'd love to see him get rid of that MP9 and give it over to somebody else, perhaps Jedka. Albeit he's been great with the Deagle. This is pretty much a perfect angle and on 2 HP. I can't see Taz letting up Fnatic away from this one. Prism sweeps him away regardless. And what was the thought process behind this round? That's my thought process. I don't know what the hell happened. Neo wipes them out. It's 9-9, but they're going to give away a free 10th. This is going to be another very similar buy. We'll probably see Deagle's sets of armor come through. Everybody leveling their cash probably to like 2,000, I'd guess, to get the buy up in the next, and that's exactly what we see. Disagree with this though. Instead of giving away just the 1 to 2 rounds he ordinarily would after losing the pistol, WISLA have somehow found a way to scuff 4 or 5 before they even get guns to their hands.
Yeah, I think that's the disaster here, really. They just made a unfortunately poor choice, at least in our opinions, for going for that second force-up. I don't think it was necessary. All it's done is
really
given HONORIS
bad.
the lead. I think that's really the reality of the situation.
Especially in a map like this, where it's quite hard to chain together rounds on the CT side. You need to get your gun round in as early as possible. It's not like you're going to be breaking the HONORIS economy. They're on the T side. It's very cheap to buy those rifles. You only really need $3,700 to be able to get that AK, body armor, and a nade out. So it's much, much cheaper, whereas similarly, you need like $4,500 on the WISLA side. There's much more impact. And once again, these pistols just get washed away.
Not much really can be done. These pistols just obliterated. Minio will look for a frag or two. A rifle to save is the goal, of course, but far from ideal. Well, there's a rifle, but no way he's going to get to it. He knows it. Boxed in as well.
I think the other interesting factor is WISLA seem to massively misjudge HONORIS' economy. The only reason you'd go for that initial double force is thinking that HONORIS are flat on $0, that there's no chance of them going for a buy in the next. When that happened, HONORIS had about $1,500 to $2,000 per player. $1,500 to $2,000 per player, and that doesn't really make much sense. That means that they can squeak out a pretty healthy-ish buy in the next. So that risk-reward, the reward part of that equation, a lot less than WISLA judged. The risk was just far too great, losing 4 rounds for nothing.
Minio, so close to getting caught there. Has to back away, but unfortunately puts himself right in the crosshairs of an AWP. That's where things go from bad to worse. "45 seconds or so to work with, and Squid, I'm not seeing any signs of light right now for the CT side. You know, just getting picked apart, it seems, these last couple of rounds. His second half, a unfortunate affair. Maybe Fnatic's in a good spot, but, well, there's the counter-argument to that. Jekyll and Hades will try and hold the crossfire for the bomb at least, but despite being 20 seconds on the clock, they simply could not hold enough.
Well, this is a floppy CT side. We've not seen anything from WISLA so far. Flakes, do you want to go for the kiss of life and I'll check for a pulse? 11-9. This is falling apart very quickly. They went from quite a decent position. Then they lost the pistol round and it all seemed to go right out of the window. Here comes the AK to spray away once again. Well, he only takes 1 for his troubles. That gives away a single rifle, but nothing that Hades should necessarily be able to do. Minio's the big point man here. If he can find a 1v onto the second member, then maybe. But Raiko's able to take him away, and now Hades' AK comes into play. There's the initial headshot. That levels out the numbers temporarily. It's Raiko again to slap right back. Big triple from him. Hades has to go 1 more to close this out. Plenty of time on that clock, but it's the double peak to do it. Sensational teamwork. That timing was to a T. And nothing that WISLA could have done about that at all. As soon as he stood out in the open and that double peak comes through, unless the AWP misses and you hit the other shot, which is just such a low chance, and there's no way of getting the job done whatsoever.
It's interesting, you see Spiro leading the charge when it comes to entry kills, I believe. But still, round struggling to be picked up by this WISLA side. I imagine a lot of those kills in Spiro come from the first half, though.
Exactly. He was the player applying a lot of that early pressure, and he seemed to go very dormant as we hit the half-time mark. Right now, they've got another opportunity in round number 22 with full rifles. The AWP comes out for only the first time this half. We're in round number 22, Flakes, and he's only seen the AWP once.
Over a minute on the clock, and HONORIS keen to already make their advances on towards this B site. Minio there ready to respond as he will be sat holding the smoke, and well, so far so good. Prism will chime in for 1, but too little too late. WISLA finally get to drop the hammer here and hold on to absolutely everything. shouldn't be able to do too much. He's last man standing up against 3. 30 seconds to work with, no bomb on his back. I mean, this could not get any more dire for him.
And they do take, I think, a first CT round. This was a 9-6 finish. HONORIS now in the driver's seat firmly. With a couple of headshots, that might be enough to put them over the top. Minio gets completely out-timed. You saw Raiko actually get all of the timing there. Minio absolutely didn't notice anything. Stood his ground. And that stubbornness, he's going to be made to pay. See this Raiko actually playing on top of the boxes this time. This seems to be a very deadly angle. When you look at the composition of that B bomb site, you just see that there's no cover there for the CTs. Really hard to hold on to, unless you're hitting headshot after headshot on T stairs. And then as soon as those kills come through, they rotate back onto A. Albeit longer rotations, but WISLA not in a position to compromise.
I think they have to save here, to be honest. They may have 20 seconds left, but they really have the utility to get onto the site. That one smoke simply would not be enough. Neo Stomp holding the Ango to an absolute T. No one can get through. What do you get in exchange for giving that a go? Well, you don't get the full buy in round 24. Yes, you have a couple players who can afford it, but for the most part,
so cool.
it's a poor buy.
What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
And number 24, and things not just starting to slip, but landslide for a WISLA all-in team who seem to be shoving their chips towards the middle of the table. Back to be 14, perhaps, to 10. This is when it gets very difficult. Some more shots like that needed. They're going to close this to 11, 12 early. Close that scoreline up, which needs to be done sooner rather than later. They really don't have a lot of runway to take off. 80's a good position. Prism doesn't seem massively aware, and a little bit of aggression there might have merited a kill. He finds it nonetheless. Good headshot, and a 3 versus 5. 2 clean kills. Minio might have taken some earlier damage, but these headshots are worth their weight in gold in a round like this. And Taz needs both of these kills, only one for his troubles, and there goes the bomb. Raiko falls into the same target. And now it's Stomp, another clutch for him. Another pretty useless scenario. Bang! 13 to 11.
Kind of a bad for Stomp, though. He gets left in those scenarios quite a lot where there's nothing he can do. He's just in a 1-3-3, 1v4. His teams are sort of all pushed, got aggressive, and fooling around them. That said, I do think special credit needs to be given to JQR there. He's really steps up with the CZ. Finding all of those kills close range. Literally, the deal breaker in that round is him whiffing. That's when Taz can get 2 kills. But everything lands. That creates an opportunity for WISLA to keep things close. That said, HONORIS looking to just highlight how brutal they're willing to be here. Their economy, after all, will be battered if the T-side take this round. And already a pretty good start, but no commitment from HONORIS. They are just sat in a 4v3, not ready quite yet to take the site.
And that's been something that's been quite common for this HONORIS side. Even when they find those 1 or 2 entry picks, they don't collapse off the back of it, maybe deciding that that's a little too predictable. They want to thin out the WISLA numbers. A lot of the time, just going for that initial hit might be successful most of the time, considering the rotation hasn't come through. You get 2 kills, Just one more hit. And you're onto that bomb site. Fnatic needs the kills, but he's going to come up completely empty-handed.
Nice shot from Hades. Brings this one back into contention. That could be a good nade as well. Dropping Stomp to 70 HP. Hades does have to push with an AWP though, which on this specific site is actually quite difficult. Stomp just has to hold an angle. He can catch you off. He's starting to run out of time here. JQR just going to get straight on the bomb. No one there to deal with him until Neo finally lets rip. That'll be 14. WISLA just 2 away here, unfortunately, from dropping their first map.
They're using Stomp in quite a compromised position where he's not going for a lot of those opening frags, which you will commonly see a T-sided AWPer do. He's actually playing that AWP most of the time in these retakes and late game situations when WISLA are actually forced to take a corner. You saw him exceptionally fast there. Just swipe away at that shot. And before anybody can get any closer to the bomb site, he takes that 2v2 to an advantageous situation where on a site like that, very open. That B bomb site is an open book. 1 minute 30. And no commitment, no force, no panic from this Polish T side. And they're forcing Fnatic and the CTs to make the mistakes.
It looks like it'll be another round where HONORIS want to slowly squeeze pressure onto this B site. Except this time, rather than slowly push up, they just fully committed. Very gung-ho play, but will pay off. JQR does get the double kill to at least have a bit of a defense, but that's when Taz, Stomp all both strike into action, creating the 2-on-2. Hades this time, though, rather than pushing, waits for the aggression of HONORIS. That change of pace for the T-side might get them the site, but it certainly won't hold on to it. Now Stomp, yet again, left to do it all on his lonesome. Can hear them pushing. Making so much noise himself, though. He's going to get caught in a second if he's not careful. Oh, missing his shot as well. That'll be the beginning of the end for him. There you have it.
Definitely tried his utmost in that scenario. He's got so many different angles to watch, and all credit to WISLA. They don't give him a single pixel to work with, knowing that the way that Stomp's been playing in a lot of those late game situations, he's probably going to shoot your hands off. Quite hard to operate the trigger after that. 14-12. Double AWP setup for one of the first times in this series from WISLA. Hades picking it up. Sparrow with the other. One sent towards this A ramp area. This is very open gate. Neo goes down. The interesting scenario is Jedko just hasn't been spotted. He's able to swing for just the one before getting traded back once more. And Hades still just stuck at the back of this bomb site. He's going to be left B for the moment being. Taz and Co. resorting to back away from A. They don't really have any map control anywhere else. They've got to really check every single corner as they go back to either side at this point. That's one of the disadvantages of playing such a closed style. The advantage, of course, is that they can presumably effectively trade.
Interesting that HONORIS seem to love the B site so much, though. The whole play the last 5 or so rounds has been exclusively based around them getting onto the site here with a quick, aggressive push. Time and time again, WISLA are able to start to clean it up now.
Yeah, on paper, this game should have really been over. HONORIS going for a pretty funky buy in the previous. They get stuck without any cash this time. This one a lot closer than I think anybody would have probably predicted after that first half, especially with HONORIS just on the home straight so early. They kept the ball rolling to get to 14, but still 2 rounds needed if they're going to take this in regulation. Of course, overtime's a massive possibility here. Both teams are going to have, well, fairly low cash. WISLA should be able to... And the smoke, another frag. And the time still on the board for Fnatic. This smoke is going to dissipate, leaving Taz in the open. And he's able to swiftly shut him away. Fnatic just kept his cool in that scenario, seeing all of his teammates fall and falter around him. And Taz unable to knock the last head away. 14-14, as close as it gets, Flakes.
Talk about leaving it down to the absolute wire. More is there that HONORIS can do. They were so close to getting this map in the bag, but WISLA stepped up to the plate and said, no, we want to stay in this, we want to fight. This strategy of rinse and repeat the B site has been cracked long ago now by this WISLA side. The last 3 rounds have been pretty clear cut here in terms of the initial kills for this push. We have seen things get a little hectic towards the tail end of the round, but for the most part, WISLA able to get 2 or 3 kills here every time the execute comes into play.
Slower stance. Round number 29, Minio. Oh, he gets burnt to a crisp. A couple of bullets help in that effort. But as soon as that smoke goes down, he telegraphs his position to the whole world. And HONORIS know exactly where he is. Look at Neo's position. He's just snuck up around that smoke. And I don't know if Sparrow's going to catch this one off guard. Neo in the open. It's a quick headshot to be hit. And this opens the B bomb site. And a tough, tricky retake needed.
They do have the upside of Jekyo coming in from behind. But they need to play with Hades and Fnatic too. Seems like they've already decided, though, just to concede this one, save the weaponry rather than going into the final round of regulation time with absolutely nothing, opting to ensure they have the rifles for that battle. I think that's a pretty smart decision. Unfortunately, though, it does give HONORIS that match point. Of course, overtime very much still on the cards. MR3, 16k, all to play for. 1 round to decide it all.
I think WISLA are feeling fairly confident after winning a couple of back-to-back rounds of that CT side. If HONORIS had just rolled over them, maybe the 8 in a row that they had found at the start, then maybe, just maybe, they'd have been going for those awkward retakes. Instead, they keep the rifles in hand and decide the 5v5 is going to be far easier instead of blundering it all in a last-ditch attempt at making 15. Of course, they've got one more opportunity here, and Hades instantly gone.
Ideal for WISLA. The benefit? Well, you've got 4 players for this all-out brawl. Prism claiming the first. Jacob will strike back for more, but it's the T side coming out on top here so far. HONORIS dropping the clock ever so quickly. 10 seconds now on the line. It's not looking possible. HONORIS will snipe in for map number 1. 16-14 as they push Vertigo right through and over the line. What a game so far. What a best of 3 this is set to be. Map 2 is now where we are going to be heading, and who knows who will be able to take this one. HONORIS, they get their map pick, but WISLA's is coming right up. Join us for that, folks, in just a few moments' time. We're back with you in 5 minutes.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling.
Throw a rock into a pond, ripples fade away. Human hearts aren't so lucky, those battle scars remain. Oh, I can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes of your ghost. Can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes of your ghost.
battle scars remain. Oh, I can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes, echoes of your ghost. Can't let go of the one thing I wanted most. I'm chasing echoes, echoes of your ghost. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Echoes of your skin, you can see it beat, intoxicating your energy. First time in so long you felt the heat, evaporating your bindings. Move like the sunlight, darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the, move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the. I know the sadness that cripples you. It comes in waves and out of the blue. But there are days you feel freedom too. Bask in the glorious lightning. Move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the, move like the sunlight. Darkness can't hold you here. Bold and bright, push through the atmosphere. This is your dawn, this is your break. Move like the, move like the. Move like the, move like the. Move like the, move like the. Radiate, radiate, radiate. Gravitate, gravitate, gravitate. Innovate, innovate, innovate. Move like the sunlight.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
Welcome back, folks. It's HONORIS versus WISLA all in, and we're here on map number 2. It is, of course, going to be Nuke, and what a map it is going to be. I mean, this has been a best of 3.5 so far, hasn't it? What a long day we've had of just back and forth Counter-Strike. You dig a little bit more into this map. I don't think we were really expecting the result we saw, to be honest. It was back and forth towards both teams. In the end, it came down to what was going to be a 15-15 for all intents and purposes, only blocked by a last-minute victory from the HONORIS side. Squid, what are your thoughts going into Nuke? Do you really feel this could be a 2-0, or are you just as confused as I am? Is it all just up in the air?
I'm definitely constantly confused, no matter what I'm looking at, but this Counter-Strike match especially, HONORIS, they looked a little bit down and out towards the end of things there. They had a really good, fast-burning start to their T side. That seemed to fall apart near the end, where they were able to just take it over the line. It's out of nowhere, seemingly. Nevertheless, Nuke is a pretty funky map from them. They've got a 0-4 record, albeit that is against higher tier opposition than WISLA. But 0-4 is never good. Not even one map win on this one. I feel like this might be a fairly strong pick for WISLA, all things considered. And we might be going to a third map as well. That would be Train, which I think is a bit of a middle ground, but WISLA would maybe even be a little favored in that as well, perhaps. Of course, Train is a little bit of a funky map for WISLA, permitting they don't really have many games played on it over the last couple of months. They've got a 3-0 record on Nuke as well. So on paper, this should definitely be WISLA's win, but this is Counter-Strike. Anything can happen. I think we've just got to see what occurs. And of course, HONORIS, they've won the knife round. They get that CT-sided start, which is, of course, exactly what they want on this specific map. But looking at the records, it might not help them too much.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing when you look at the records of both of these teams. There's so little there that it is actually really hard to make a judgment call as well. Both these teams don't exactly have 30, 40 maps logged over the last 3 months. If anything, it's closer to 6 or 7 maps logged. So a much smaller sample size as well to judge them off of when it comes to what are the maps that work, what are the maps that they should be avoiding. And I think that makes the veto that extra little bit more spicy as well, because as an opponent, how do you judge your team if you have no idea what they've been playing apart from 7 maps of Counter-Strike? That's a very small sample size to be looking at when it comes to a veto.
Yeah, you've definitely got to go off your strengths as opposed to your opponent's weaknesses. And I think that this is what WISLA has done. Of course, 0-4 record for HONORIS, 3-0 record for WISLA. That's pretty one-sided. I definitely can't blame them for picking up Nuke. If I was in their shoes, I'd definitely be going towards a Nuke pick here. As I said, on paper, we should be heading to a third and final map here, Flakes. But with a CT-sided start, if HONORIS can get that economy snowballing, if they can get those rounds under their belt early, and just shut WISLA out, maybe they can take this 2-0. Of course, it's not over until it's over, and this one's not even started. We'll start with a pistol round in the next couple of moments. It'll be 0-0, flats and evens. And we'll see if HONORIS can get off to that good start that they really need.
This is where it all begins, looking for that solid start, like you say. Rather interestingly, WISLA have gone for the double util pistol, so opting for 2 mollies, singular frag grenade, a smoke. And I imagine everyone else will be rocking the Glocks if my math is correct. Unfortunately, not really the greatest of starts. HONORIS on their CT side drop the hammer. It's Taz with a double kill. Everyone else chiming in for 1 or 2, leaving just Minio in a 1 versus X scenario. Now 3 players left after, I believe he found 1, but it's simply not going to be good enough of a pistol for WISLA. They will drop. The CTs take themselves there first, and that has to be the worst case start for WISLA here.
Yeah, that's a terrible start, of course. On your T-sided pistol, that's where you want to start picking up those little bonus rounds. If you can get to 3 or 4 early, then you've almost done your job already. And you're set up for a 7+ round T-side, which is just fantastic on a map like Nuke. On the CT side, though, the pressure's always on. We saw earlier, even on train, even at 8-1, you're never out of the woods. You've got to close out those halves. You've got to close out these games. And well, on Vertigo, I've shown some potential at being able to do that. I think that's one thing that's a bit deceptive about this is HONORIS are massively low ranked on HLTV after, I think, only scoring a couple of map wins in total. That's against very high tier opposition. They've not played any tournaments of this sort of stature. They've played a variety of fairly high scoring teams, high ranked teams, of course, just due to that star power and name power that Taz and Neo hold. Hoping that they can bulk up that ranking here in this tournament. A playoffs position would do a mighty fine job. Maybe a semi-final. I think that that's what they're aiming for. Knowing Taz and Neo, they're always going for gold in whatever they do, whatever they're playing, whatever tournament, whether it be a major or a online cup. Oh, look at those odds flakes. Even as it gets.
Interesting, though. Surprising that it's balanced out so quickly. At the end of the day, though, this is the round. Deja vu, I think. This is the one that matters for WISLA. If they do not start soon, I have concerns because players like Taz, if there's one thing I know from watching Taz over the last God knows how many years it's been now, is Taz, Neo, Prism as well to a certain extent, based on what we've just seen in this limited series. They seem to be very momentum based. What do I mean by that? Well, start linking those rounds together, they just need to get better and better. Obviously, Taz and Neo both have experience as well to get out of tough situations, but in just terms of the firepower as individuals, they really like pop off, and we typically see 5-6 rounds. So I think WISLA have to sort of be a bit mindful of that. They want to make sure they shut down the CT side early on. Don't give them the confidence that right now they seem to have everything going their way. Rico, good for 1, will be traded towards ramp, but still kept the 3v3 here. Saving grace is that it's going to be a ramp play to be. That's where only Neo can be found. That's a lovely shot, though. Point-blank range, but a headshot to connect. So he used all his utility to set himself up now for the retake, including the frag grenade to block the door. It's really smart because that's a crucial piece of WISLA's post-round strategy here, but that certainly wasn't. Double headshot, leaving Neo all of a sudden last man standing.
This needs to be exceptionally snappy shots. He's going to move through the smoke right now. Absolutely needs this one, misses. 20 seconds left on that bomb as well. As he does creep closer, he's just edging through that window angle. And there's a freebie, but escapes with the second. Needs that AK in hand. He hits the headshot. What the hell was that? He's not got enough time left on that bomb to do the trick. So he has got to backtrack. But you can see he's posturing to try and steal back that AWP, which he is going to get. So the damage has been dealt. You will surely see HONORIS go for a buy in this next. They've got decent amounts of money to be able to manage. Of course, that momentum, as you spoke about earlier, playing an absolutely humongous factor in this series especially. I think that that's a bit of a symptom of Polish Counter-Strike, that a lot of these teams are massively momentum-based, especially the likes of Taz and Neo. You saw it, in fact, on Vertigo, where Taz picks up the AWP just off the ground, almost secures a 1 versus 3. And that seemed to fire HONORIS up, even though it was a round that he wasn't able to pick up. And a massive reason, I think, that they were able to secure Vertigo and get to Nuke, which is a dodgy map to say the least. Map up. Nevertheless, WISLA find themselves a player up.
Patience going to be key here for WISLA. After all, finding the previous round was pretty crucial, just wasting enough of Neo's time to deny him that defuse. Now here, already finding Prism sets them up in a good position, especially when you add in the fact that Neo's also been found. Starts to bode well for their outside control. Yet to commit to anything, so we could still see a ruckus on A, especially if Taz is able to step up, but it looks like he's got very limited support, which means he should be in a one-and-done position here. Stomp will come in from up and above, so at least there's that, I suppose, but Taz with the M4A1S, it's just not what you want, is it? Surely shouldn't be able to survive here, and in fact will be just banged through the wall. Stomp still up in heaven, causing problems with the AWP, so an opportunity created for Rico, who's rotated into play. But he's held at a headshot angle. Nothing he can do, meaning Stomp still becomes last man standing. An all too common occurrence, it seems.
It also feels like WISLA are controlling the pace of this T side. They're prompting the aggression. They're finding the frags when they're really needed. HONORIS have been shut down from a fairly healthy economy, double buys, to this eco round after losing 2 in a row, and WISLA are about to make it 3. And this is exactly what you don't want on the CT side of Nuke. You pick up that good start, that pistol round trio, and then as soon as the weapons, the guns, the rifles come into play, you start falling and faltering. Lots of time on the board, and the AK should be able to just dispatch of these aggressive pistols. They do, with only 1 found in response. That was from Neo. Can't double it up. So it's going to be that 3-3 scoreline that we mentioned before. And this is where things start to get a little more interesting. The second buy round. If WISLA take this, then they're absolutely controlling the pace.
And the concern there is it's WISLA on T side. Something you want to be mindful of. Nuke, of course, one of those maps where there is a bit of an imbalance between CTT. I'd say not as much as old school Nuke, not by a long shot, but still just something to keep in mind. Interesting as well, a lot more pressure towards outside now from HONORIS, clearly wanting to defend Secret a little bit more. It's working out wonderfully here. Neo, good for 2, makes it to a 3rd, in fact. Hades missing a big frag with the AWP there just to deny that 3rd kill. Most importantly, deny control of the bomb, which, yes, is quickly lost, quickly regained, however you want to frame it, but most importantly, WISLA put in a tight spot.
Definitely one that they can worm the way out of, unless any of these kills, especially from Taz holding the rotates, can achieve. Jedka, he's the main prompt here. As this bomb can maybe weasel its way downstairs, Taz gives up the ghost, and that rotate is made a lot easier through Secret. Not that WISLA know this yet, but Taz with so much map control, I think that HONORIS have misread the situation and think it's towards the A-bomb site, just judging off Taz's position. And Jedka is really just in that prime spot to punish anybody here. And as Taz and Prism meet up near the A-bomb site, they should now know that it's towards B. Why hasn't Prism gone for this rotate yet? Taz was just outside. They can't be towards this side of the map. And they still think it's towards A. They've got all of the information, but they've completely misread this book.
Now looking for the quick frag here, but not to come through. That's when Minio will strike into action. Takes the drive by Jewel, and from there, Taz's situation pretty dire. Should have spotted Minio's peak, but I don't think he did. I don't think he realizes that Minio was just a shoulder's width away. Ends up going to be a WISLA round, and you have to think about how devastating that is for Neo there, because he's done
amazing how much I
everything.
love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
The heartbreaking round for Neo. Began to allude to it. A triple kill for him. He's done everything his team have asked of him outside. And they've all fallen short elsewhere. does put them in a rough spot now because they have no money left in the bank, so likely giving up a 5th here to WISLA as well.
And this is where things go from bad to worse. Of course, you're already looking at slightly too many rounds on the T side of Nuke, and this is, I think, what we were maybe half expecting to see, hoping that we wouldn't see. WISLA, they obviously lost that knife round, but they don't seem to care at all. The kills going all their way. This round should be all too easy, as the pistols just get chopped away. And the final Deagle left to play. A minute in hand, only 32 HP to his name. Nothing to be done here. As we said earlier, 5-3. That'll be the scoreline. Definitely looks like HONORIS they're a little bit lost on this map. That kill's nice, but only temporarily gifts an AK-47. Rico's stuck just between a rock and a hard place. He has to walk towards Hades' AWP, which is not going to be a pretty sight. Stuck down below. I think he's still within the bomb blast radius, so he has to try and get his way, frag his way out of there. And unable to do so. WISLA once again back to winning ways. These T sides have looked exceptional. It's sad because Taz, Neo, as players, have had such tenure on Nuke. Some of old Virtus Pro's best and most exciting and exhilarating performances classically are always on Nuke. But this specific roster doesn't seem to have that magic Polish touch. WISLA certainly do, though. Here come the opening frags. Another one found outside, and WISLA just seem to be fighting all of these kills left, right, and center. This time it's only the one to open through, but that's sometimes enough to breach onto one of these bomb sites. You see, HONORIS trying to prompt the aggression, like right behind this smoke, but not finding anything. WISLA aren't giving HONORIS even an inch to work with.
Another great pick falls into place. Things just going from bad to worse at this point as Spiro and co all just picked them apart, leaving Taz and Rico last two standing. Neither of them seem to be able to do all too much here. They do put Taz in a slightly better situation, but mostly down to the work he's doing himself. A double kill so far. Would need to be a quad kill of the round for him for this to stick. And, well, Taz is a legend, don't get me wrong, but that's a huge ask.
Especially with the bomb down. Doesn't even look like he's going to prompt any aggression here. The lack of HP has really sealed his fate this time. In HONORIS, it just gets even worse. There's the AWP, so something salvaged out of this one. WISLA are doing such a good job of finding all of those openings. They're really doing a phenomenal job. There's a no scope to bail Taz out of some temporary trouble, but he gets traded. It's now another round to the WISLA side. 6.
Has to be said, it feels like this one is starting to slip away from HONORIS. Potentially looking at 7-3 here before the game really gets serious again. There is some Kevlar behind his pistols, so potential here. Even then, that involves them getting a few good picks, and, well, you can see right here, those aren't coming anytime soon. Rico set ablaze. It's going to be a confirmed 7-3. The question is, does Rico want to save the Kevlar? And I would imagine he does.
At this point in the game, economy is obviously important for HONORIS, but the rounds are always the priority. This is one that they're never, ever going to win. It's going to take an absolute stunning masterclass to even get into this bomb site, especially without any kits. And even doing economical damage, WISLA, they've got plenty of cash. They're doing just fine. So as they scramble away from this bomb site, once again, it's going to be WISLA coming out on top. This was one that they were obviously expected to win. I'd love to see Stomp just get rid of that just terrible scout and pick up an AWP for his troubles. And if that was the plan anyway, why isn't he playing a little more aggressive with it? Why isn't he prompting his way back into that bomb site? They've got plenty of money. You imprison $5,500 here. They can go for an absolutely full buy. He's only deprived of one flashbang or a Molotov, perhaps. And now HONORIS, they have to do it in the most difficult of fashion.
Finally, a change of pace from Rico. Nice to see him stepping up at the start of a round. Grabbing a quick entry pick towards ramp, but I have to be careful here not to be overexposed. Ooh, that's nice. The bomb thrown forward rather than backwards with the right inside blocked off as well. The frag grenade's going to do some serious damage. Talk about a blessing in disguise. Very aggressive, but flashing through the smoke as well, just to force the issue. He's hoping they can link that success together. No, now at 7-4, WISLA still yet to secure the half win, but very close. And look at how those odds have shifted once more. Going from perfectly even at the start of the match to 520 to 1.14 now, favouring WISLA by such a significant margin.
Yeah, those odds have been shifting incredibly quickly along with the pace of this game. And I think that's just... the people watching out there can see that HONORIS have looked just fairly lost. Yes, they've been hitting their shots over the last 1.5 rounds. They've got to continue that over a long stretch of nuke. If they're going to lose 7, perhaps even more rounds on the CT side, how is that T side going to look? It's probably not going to pay many dividends. We saw a bad CT side start just earlier on today, and that Skade matchup. Of course, nuke was just a difficult fortress to penetrate once you get onto that T side, especially after having such a rollover performance beforehand. Anything close to double digits is just incredibly scary. There go the refrags, and this is one that HONORIS should not be losing. This would be heartbreaking right now. Neo accidentally suicides, jumps to his demise, and it's Minio versus a pair. The AWP misses. Rico trades. And that is 5, but far from clean.
The beauty of these rounds, they don't need to be clean. They just need to be rounds on the board. That's what matters here for HONORIS at this point. Every round gets them one step closer to their mission of a 2-0 in this best of 3. And they desperately need them on their CT side. So they don't care if they're scrappy, if they're down and dirty. They do not care. They just need to get them done.
You're absolutely right. It's all about those scores on the doors. HONORIS desperately looking for 8. And then I think a pistol round on top of that. 7 in a pistol round. That might not even be enough. 8 in a pistol might not even be enough. It might be already too far gone. Nuke is really that tilted towards that CT side. Heading downstairs. Lots of map control here. Rico's going to be all on his lonesome, of course. A couple of the pistols might be the difference maker here. WISLA, they're low on cash. And that loss bonus hasn't built up yet. So they're going to have to massively rely on these pair of AK-47s to do the damage. But look how much map control they've gained. All the way into vents. Even with a P250, this becomes so difficult to control, and that's going to slow down the rotations to a halt. HONORIS are either going to have to hit these shots right now, or they're going to have to backtrack and go for the slower rotate. They might even go for the latter. The bomb not on yet, and Stomp, he looks way colder on this map than he did previously, but that nade, oh, it's lightning hot! A massive double kill. That smashes and clatters the whole of that attack. And WISLA go from a great situation Dominio having to do it all. He's got slight support from Sparrow from behind. This time there are no HEs to do the damage, and that is a massive pickup there.
That is absolutely huge. Both ways, in fact. Somehow WISLA have been able to seal this one back. Now lining up. Oh, giving the 1v1s. Oh, Taz. Dangerously close to pulling that off. Spirit in the end will seal the deal, but that came right down to the wire. Look at that nade.
Kablam. Absolutely massive. I swear Taz has a way of just getting inside your brain and forcing these awkward 1vx situations. That was another one. And Sparrow, he hits the shot, could have very easily gone the other way. You said it can be scrappy, but it's all about the rounds. That was scrappy, but it certainly wasn't all about the rounds. They lost. It's 5-8 right here. And HONORIS is stuck in this awful situation where they can't really go for a buy this time. Of course, Stomp's got that AWP in hand, but he's been cold the last couple of rounds. You can't afford for your AWP, especially if you're playing a single AWP setup here on Nuke. You can't afford for him to be cold. One other thing from HONORIS is they've gone for that boost over by ramp, and they've actually missed it 2 times. When Ryko jumps on his teammate's head in this situation, that gives away a massive sound cue. And WISLA, I don't think they had anybody in the lobby to actually hear that. But as soon as you hear that boost come to fruition, you know exactly where you're pre-firing. And look at this map control again. They're right down towards this B-bomb site. And HONORIS caught with their pants down. No nades this time is going to stop the plant.
Rico, both have clash heads, but in the end, it's still HONORIS left trying to chomp at the bit here, find their way in. Clattering around ramp does nothing at all if you cannot actually get through to the site, and that's the problem for HONORIS in these retakes. They seem to get 2 or 3 players stuck towards ramp, desperate to try and actually get through on towards B, and time again, they can't pull it off. And that leads us here, 9-5. Unfortunate situation, but lots to be done here from HONORIS if they want to bring things back, especially in that second half.
Okay, we've got a debate on the cards. People in the chat are saying that Nuke isn't CT-sided. I don't know. What is your take on that? Do you think I'm giving too much emphasis to the fact that this map is quite CT-sided?
I think it used to be pretty bad. Like, it used to be normal to see 30 in 2 halves.
Yes.
And that was a huge problem. Then we've seen a lot of changes over time with Nuke that I think have brought it much closer together. Now, it's still not perfect. I still think there is definitely a bias towards both sides, but I don't think you're looking at an 11-4, 12-3 sort of bias.
No, I'm thinking maybe a 9-6, 10-5 CT bias. Maybe even that's a little too much, is it?
I think 10-5, 9-6 is probably pretty bang on. I mean, if you look at the stats, I'm pretty sure the stats are still 55-45 on new Nuke. And you often see that the success rate of a CT team is extremely driven by the success in the pistol. I think I'm going off memory here, so folks at home, feel free to check this out on HGTV. They have great stats on all of this stuff. But if I recall, it's 55-45 roughly, favoring CT side based on new Nuke. And on the CT side, one of the most important things on Nuke is that your ability to convert that second round is drastically higher than your Terrace counterparts. I think it, at one point, was as close to 87-88%. It was very rare that a CT side lost that second round. And you can see that in this game. I mean, look at the timeline on the board, 3 rounds back-to-back for the CT side. Only then was it HONORIS able to link some stuff together on their T side, so...
And I think one of the more worrying things for Honoris is just that lack of gun rounds that they were able to win. Remember, those first three were the pistol, a force buy, and then a full eco for WISLA. Since then, they were only able to take 3 gun rounds near the end of the half. That 15th, incredibly pivotal, perhaps, incredibly crucial to stop it being that double-digit first half from WISLA. But I definitely think we're looking at a third map here. I think the WISLA are looking at a strong lead going into this second half. Can upsets happen? Can this sort of a comeback happen? Absolutely. We see it all of the time. But Honoris, I don't think that they're favored right now. And I think that that's the real problem that they've got. And if their depth of Nuke T-side isn't absolutely solid, I think they're going to have a real tricky time here. And we might even be in for a very quick third map.
Potentially, but there's also the other avenue to look at it, which is rather than focusing on how good their T-side is, what about potentially the weaknesses in their CT side? CT side Nuke is tough. It's not an easy map to play. There are lots of little things that you can get wrong, which can allow you to be abused by a T-side. One of the big things is door control. If you don't hold door control correctly or outside control for secret correctly, you'll often see what we saw just the other day in a previous Nuke Best of 3 for LOOT.BET Season 7, which is a team who quite literally hits you from Secret B every round. If you don't control Secret correctly, the Ts will be on the B site before you can rotate. So there are little things like that that the Ts can use to abuse a CT side who potentially haven't had the practice that they need. Although it is definitely a map with bias to it, it's one that you do need practice to be able to use correctly.
Absolutely. I just don't know if Honoris have that practice, have that time actually on this map drilled as of this point. This pistol's looking successful thus far. Couple of kills the other way could have changed the tides. But nevertheless, WISLA, they lose all 3 of those B site defenders. They were pretty heavily stacked up towards the ramp area. I love that aggression from Honoris. Just wide swing that ramp angle, and now they're in a massive advantage, just trying to fall away. Fnatic finds the big opener here, and that second was absolutely crucial. If he could have nailed it, then maybe the CZ can wean his way a little closer onto this bomb site. It's 7-9 regardless, and Honoris feel like that was one of their big chances here. They've converted. That's their second pistol round win. Scary to think that they've won both pistols and we're only on 7 rounds right now. They're definitely a little light, but plenty of time to make up the difference.
Rico looking for that ramp duel. Has to be careful. The Deagle, a very powerful gun actually if used correctly towards ramp. Just given the headshot ability. Second weapon of choice though, he's bang on. Frag grenade, so powerful as well. We saw Stomp success towards B. You could really repeat that towards ramp, especially if you see a clump of Ts running your way. I like the aggression there from Gecko, but doesn't lead to anything. Neo takes a good chunk of damage, but nothing more to come of it. That's where you see the frag grenade. Look at the damage done just in those ramp duels alone because of the use of that frag grenade. Rico's 14 HP, Taz 53 HP. Makes it extremely costly.
A sucker punch to the face, but no knockout blow for any of these 5 Ts. They're going to backtrack towards the A bomb site. And 40 seconds to their name. They're about to walk into this Scout MP9 combo. And only the Scout's able to do double damage. But he takes away the full HP players. Those tagged away by the nade earlier on in the round are still roaming. And they've got 30 HP between the 2 of them. There go the headshots. That ends the round. What looked fairly competitive and definitely doable by WISLA, instantly taken off at the table. Ladies, might just look for a couple of kills here. I don't know if there are any dropped rifles. Is Neo's Galil up for grabs? I'm not sure. Don't think so. Maybe 8-9 here. And there's the AK. There's the freebie that Hades desperately wanted to get his hands upon. These last two teams just so low. They're not going to hunt him. They'll be going to the opposite end of the earth to avoid that AK.
I wonder what they choose to do with the AK now. You got one gun that has some serious firepower to it. The rest of them, they'll be strong, don't get me wrong, but not by any stretch as strong as that AK, so I do wonder where they choose to play it. These are one of those rounds where it's okay, I think, to change up a little bit, sort of your standard CT side positioning, because you want to put the rifle in the right hands here. 5-7 close ramp, meet their maker in the form of a MAC-10, the perfect gun choice for dealing with those two positions. That's money made for Taz. He's made a profit now off that purchase. Most importantly, the chance for more as well, as his teammate, in fact, will trade the frag. This is looking pretty good, and Honoris should be able to tie this one up 9 for 9. WISLA have done a great job of making this a costly round. The only question is, will Neo be able to find that AK? So it's 3 rifles carried forward, not just 2 AKs in the Galil.
That's definitely one of the objectives for Honoris. They can't really afford to lose too many rifles here, and stood out in the open like this. That wide peak just shows Stomp's confidence, even if he does know that it's MP9s and SMGs that he's up against. This will be the first challenge for Honoris this half. A full buy round for WISLA. The only crack in the defense is that FAMAS, the less advantageous automatic rifle of choice. Nevertheless, Honoris are going to have pretty much everything that they want. Neo still with that Galil, but not too big of a crack for either team. 9-9. This is the round that might dictate a lot of the momentum going into this second half. If this is going to be a 2-0, Honoris need to keep the pace up, maybe even up the pace at this point. Especially paying close attention to those opening frags. This is an incredibly aggressive position from Hades. He's put this AWP right inside lobby. If he doesn't get any kills, he's going to get a hell of a lot of information knowing that Honoris aren't towards his side of the map, and that allow speedy rotates to the B-bomb site.
Slow and steady, seemingly the strategy here. Honoris wanting to take a couple of jewels, just 1vx style. Make sure they're guaranteed every fight that they take, and that strategy seems to be working. It's a lot of 1v2 fights against Minio. That was a 1v3 peak against Spiro. Even if they were able to sneak in a headshot before they fell, you're looking at an instant trade. So pretty calculated play, actually, from Honoris so far. Does, of course, put them in a 5v3 as well. So a great early advantage. Hades does start to trade things back, albeit due to the whiff of Prism. That should have been a guaranteed kill there, to be honest. Looks like Stomp will fill in for his teammate anyway, and that just puts things in a really tough spot now for WISLA. I don't think that they want to go for this. The 2 rifles, far more important to save, ideally, given just how poor the economy of that CT side is.
Fnatic is gunning for that AWP. Finally gets it. And now the idea is to back away with that sniper rifle. Make sure that that is kept in play. He spotted an AK on his way out. Jedka's not going to take the risk to go back that far. You can see that Honoris, they know that they want to be going for these plays. They will know that they need these picks, especially that AWP, which they don't want to meet in round number 20. Fnatic playing a fairly advanced stance. And Raiko decides to, well, drops to the bomb instead of going for that wide peak. Ill-advised. I don't think he knew that he was going to die from that specific angle. 10-9 nonetheless. A massive round for Honoris. I think if WISLA win it, then they're right into this half already. And that's maybe where you see the round starting to amount. Here, a slight edge for Honoris. Just in terms of the numbers. That's discounting any side bias, and this looks like a much quicker approach. Yeah, this might be the classic A split.
Yeah, this is almost just vintage nuke Counter-Strike at this point, especially when you throw the auto shotgun, but it's so low HP that I'm not sure this is a balanced 3-on-3. He dying with almost just no ability to respond there. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. With the bomb down, we've got Spearer coming in from Hut. Minio coming in from Heaven. It's a good setup. It looks like Minio's actually decided to join his teammate with the outside path and come in together, which probably makes sense, but it also means that the minute you're both spotted, you have 3 players locked in on your position, and given the smokes in play, very limited time to deal with those players. And I have a feeling that smoke is going to cause the
play.
I think the smokes alone have caused the save, not even the Molotov. They know they don't have the time. They would have had, what, 13 seconds, if math serves me correctly, to push through Hut once the smoke fades? 13 seconds is not going to be enough time to kill 3 players and get on a defuse. It just simply won't happen.
That's an upsetting round for WISLA. I was really impressed with their counter utility on the A bomb site as well. You saw those Molotovs go through at the perfect time. As soon as you see those nades from HONORIS coming right over the top, you almost can guarantee that it's going to be the A play. At least you've got to believe the push by throwing those nades out. They were perfectly timed. That actually slowed the Hut aggression. It slowed the squeaky aggression. HONORIS, they found the shots nonetheless. And that was even with Jedka finding the opening pick for WISLA. His AWP was great to hit that opening pickup. Funky stuff. 11-9, a very quick pause before getting back into this action. Because I don't think we're going to see HONORIS let up on the pace.
They can keep this going and continue to have control of the CT side's economy. You're starting to look at a lot of 2-for-1 rounds here and really bringing them pretty close to a 2-0 victory. That ramp is going to be a target and a great nade, actually. You see just another round where it's 30 plus damage. Might not seem like much, but trust me, that damage adds up over the period of a game and over the period of a round. It can really make a difference.
Definitely temporarily puts you on the back foot, especially before any refrags or follow-up damage is found. Another slow stance by HONORIS. I love the way that they're dictating the pace of this game. Playing those fast rounds earlier really put WISLA on the back foot. The MP9 and M4 combo doing good damage. And now Jedka looking for even more headshots. He's still alive, albeit 2 HP. And there's another one. Raiko drops, and it's Stomp versus the world. We've seen this so many times on Vertigo. The first time we've seen him in a massive clutch like this here on Nuke. But he's going to bail and fail before he goes in for even 1 kill. Needs to carry this AWP through to the next round. Although the money isn't a problem. He knows that even a loss or 2 can certainly be. Doesn't want to give $5,000 worth of equipment up for nothing. 11-10. One that stops HONORIS in their tracks. That was a 5-round streak halted. And now WISLA back in the money. Minio's got another drop. So their money is going to be looking okay. They've got a slight buffer here on that CT side. Definitely looking to build that one up. Especially with the double AK-47 in play. Those are rifles that you want to keep alive in as many rounds as possible. That 1-bullet headshot potential absolutely matters on this CT side. Happens when you're spamming through those smokes. Matters when you're in the 1v1 aim duels. These nades certainly matter as well. Hades is going to take a ton of damage. 28 points of health for him.
A much slower start to the round for HONORIS now. rather than forcing the issue here, they are just trying to get people into good positions to attack this A side from all angles. But you see, Neo clearly has some concerns that someone is lurking around. He just hasn't quite found him yet. And he's bang on. There is someone right below him. They just don't quite realize. But I like this. They're going for the boost setup just to minimize any risk here in the heaven play. Doesn't quite work out. Forces the immediate trade, but works out wonders when Neo gets a 2-for-1. That's what you want to be seeing right now. Neo using that experience, that brain, kick his team into hyper gear. A couple of quick responses, but nothing that's really going to work for the CT side, unfortunately, just due to positioning alone. HONORIS always in position to trade those kills. Q are going to be looking for a way in, but obviously he has no information. They could be literally anywhere. So much to check, so little time. Not going to happen. It'll be another for the T side. WISLA forced to go all in here with every last cent to try and fight for this round. If this goes wrong, you look at not only 13-10, but 14-10 as well.
This is definitely make or break time for WISLA. They've got a decent buy. Fnatic, yes, he's got that XM in hand. Everybody else with favorable rifles. Luckily for WISLA, the silver lining is that loss bonus. They're getting money for enough buys every couple of rounds at least. Most of the time, every round, and well, that's why the XM's so powerful. Blasts Prism out of the server, and he doesn't even get greedy for the AK. Prism's got to be a little bit fuming about that one. Of course, a one-tap with an XM never feels good when you're on the receiving end. The Fnatic, it will feel fantastic. With a minute 15 left.
Lovely opening frag from Stomp. Close range AWP. It's like
from behind is going to be the pincer and the choke. Neo and Taz, the dream team fall, and it's 12-11 as a response. WISLA, they keep their cool. And they turn the screw once again. T-side of Nuke often difficult.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.
back into the action sooner rather than later here. 12-11, of course. It's practically all tied up as HONORIS have to start making some tough decisions on what it is they want to do. Economy not in a great place. That's where that stems from. Of course, you have the AWP. You got a bunch of pistols. You got about $2,000 to $3,000 a player. The safe decision would be to play the long game here, not spend anything at all, and just play with the AWP and the pistols. The really aggressive, kind of balls to the wall style of Counter-Strike that we see often, you go for the force-up. You play around Stomp, and you hope for the best with these Deagles, 5.7s, maybe an SMG or two thrown in. You do something quick and dirty and wait and see if it'll go anywhere. But you lose that round, it really backfires, because not only are you then going to be, in this case, 12-12, but you're likely going to give up the 13th to WISLA as well, rather than just ecoing here and buying and contesting that lead.
Yeah, those rounds massively sting. Here with 1 minute 35 early in this 24th round. You see that there's not much play to be had for unarmored opponents. Stomp really has to be put into the prime position. Seems to be ramp being the place to go. This gives him a lot of space, but those smokes take it completely away. Outside might have been the better play, but you know, in a round like this, where you're only playing against an AWP and pistols, you know that WISLA are going to be tucked away inside these bomb sites, and I don't think they've got any coverage outside. That would be a great position for the pistols to try and maneuver their way into. But with Stomp playing that aggressive prod, the big difficulty for him is he's not used to playing that position. Yes, he finds the kills, but it's usually in these more passive avenues of approach. And you see these rifles just force Stomp into a disgusting avenue of approach. He needs to hit so many shots here, and there's a third. Still plenty of health and time to work with. 30 seconds, half a minute. Minio right behind him. And Hades prompted to go back to the B bomb site. Scared by the body. He's going to be reacting to absolutely anything. Leaves on the ground, and he'll be flinching right now. He's got to make this cross against Hades. He's not going to be able to do so. 12-12, exactly what should happen on paper. But Stomp, he's great. He makes it interesting.
I was going to say, you got to give him some credit there. The guy gave that a great go. Those are some tasty flicks up to heaven. Really nice to see, especially given only 6 rounds ago, you were on this case about him being a quiet player and needing to step up.
Maybe I'm a Stomp hater.
I think he might be just a hater, because that right there was a good opportunity for him, and he made a good go. Unfortunately, it didn't connect, but it is what it is. Now, it is all about these rifles, and look at that one nade and the damage it has done. JQ are trying to hold on to outside, and decides to get aggressive. He is in the smoke. He's going to pop through and just try and catch them off guard, but Stomp, I think, might be ready and waiting. And he is. Plays it to a T. Prism then finds Spearer as well. HONORIS here to maintain that lead.
Exactly when those frags are needed as well. Otherwise, this game looks much closer to over, with WISLA holding a very slight advantage. Remember, if the CT side lose this round, they're really not going to have a lot of cash left at all. A couple of round wins in a row lessens that loss bonus. And HONORIS, just like they did on Vertigo, slow the pace down as soon as they find those opening frags. With a minute remaining, they're not prompting the issue. They've got Fnatic completely out of place. He's surprised by the next player. But with the MP9, it's one and done. His Minio looks equally as quashed. 30 seconds left and nothing to do. He shakes his head in dismay. This is not an enviable position. And he is dead if he stays here, Flakes. He's sat right below that bomb.
Clearly wanting to live on the wild side of this. I thought he was about to go jump on the defuse. He would have won that if he got it. That would have been a play, to be fair. If he got on the defuse right there, he wins that round 100%.
It is planted on the A-bomb site.
Yeah. I reckon if he got up vent, he had time. Because what, it was 17 seconds when he got the kill?
Everybody very scatty in those late round positions as well.
It's tough when you're moving around a lot. You can leave things open. So it's, I don't know, how long does it take to get up vent from rafters? I reckon you could do that in about 10 seconds
as well. And back in
it is probably quite close, but
I know that Taz and Neo have been on the receiving end of some world famous ninjas before.
You don't see him often nowadays, to be fair.
No, I want to see them more, Flakes. I want to see them more.
People are a bit more reserved in their attempts now. It's usually the quickest way to get your team to yell at you when you go for a ninja.
Welcome to matchmaking.
I'm sure there's a Sparkles video out there somewhere with some ninja diffusers in, that's for sure. That said, 13 to 12, pistols in play, a singular rifle for Minio, which has just been lost.
Ryoko messing about with his knife, almost loses a teammate. Needs to stay hyper-focused at all times, even in a round like this against the pistols. This close before you get itchy feet, you can lose one of these rounds oh so easily, especially on Nuke, where there are so many tight corners. It's much easier to walk into a stack in a map like this than it is a map like Dust 2, a map like Overpass, where you're usually hunting for that initial information. If you walk right into the A bomb site and there are 5 ESPSs there, anything can happen. It's going to be 14 to 12. They're so low on time. HONORIS have prepped this one to a halt and are finally making their approach. There's going to be nobody here in the way of a defense. It's an easy bomb plant. It could have got complicated if they walked into the stack, though. If the stack was down at B instead of the other side of the map, then yeah, perhaps. And remember, that wasn't based off information. HONORIS really had no information on the A-bomb site for quite some time. It wasn't like they had expended one player. It was just a guess, prediction. Feels like HONORIS are on their A game. Even against these pistols, they're triple peeking, making sure none of these AKs drop.
He definitely was dead here without his teammate. 100%. Just caught, inspected the old knife.
Is Reiko is just messing about. He's clowning about, Flakes. Almost gets Taz killed. One of the kings of the Polish scene, almost given away on a silver platter. How do you feel about that?
Silver? I think a king at least should be gold platter, surely.
Platinum platter.
The double barrel doesn't quite work, I think.
It just rolled off the tongue really nice.
It also looks pretty good. HONORIS' chances right now of a victory 2-0.
I'm eating my words.
Look at that second
I
half.
basically argued with the whole of Twitch chat to say that Nuke was fairly CT-sided, and now...
But it's
like
top level CS versus sort of tier 2, sort of tier 3, as you sort of play between those different tiers. It's different everywhere. Like, if I was to tell you that Nuke was CT-sided when watching a national UK Counter-Strike game, like a LAN or something, it's T-sided every day of the week because it's just all about aim. It's all about the individual jewels. So generally, most of the maps are T-sided. I think you've always got to sort of put context there that every map is different depending on just how the game is going to be played. It's not always a black and white, this map is 65% favoring CT, this map is 30% favoring T, or whatever it may be. It's different based on the teams involved and the way they play. If you're a very aggressive team with literally no tactical knowledge, you have pretty poor sort of interpersonal skills in terms of the way you play together as a team, then you're probably going to be finding that your T-side is where you're successful on every map. Reasoning why is because it's going to be all about your ability to take peaks as an individual. And at best, the way you can play maybe for a double swing or something that affects kind of like fundamental CS. But there isn't really going to be the tactical depth of a CT side for some of those teams. So it's different in every circumstance. It is what it is. Let's focus back on this game. At 14-12, all hell is about to break loose. WISLA desperately trying to ensure they can take this to 13 here and just hang on in this game. As they're already under pressure, Hades burning to 75 HP.
As if HONORIS are going to close this out 2-0. They want to do it right here, right now, especially with Neo picking up that first frag. And they've bought themselves decent map control. Taz, he's got the information. Here comes the AWP as a response. And Hades, he's not going to find the position to nail any shots. Back down to A. And HONORIS, another opening frag. It's all off the back of Neo. And the AWP chimes in again. There's another frag. The bomb is dropped. And this is falling apart, Flakes. The whole of the A bomb site is a complete lockdown. The padlock gets closed and it's 14-13. What went wrong? A 5 versus 3 and WISLA still alive in this series.
It's crazy. That round looks like it's pretty much a done deal for HONORIS. They have all the right picks to open up the site. And then somehow, WISLA are able to claw their way back in. Just fighting tooth and nail to keep it alive. This is excellent CS right now. You have no idea where this is going to head. You just have to take it round by round. You really do. And for HONORIS, this is a big deal for them because this is all they have left. This is everything in the bank. You're not going to be looking for Hades, but if they peek him the way they're looking at right now, this could be pretty deadly. First pick in the bag, but Hades will trade. Rico looking to chase, but that's the angle for the AWP. Got to be careful.
This is genuinely an exciting series. Both maps coming down to the wire. First 16-14. The second could be similar, or it could be even closer. A 3 versus 4 might decide it. A minute left on the clock. And HONORIS need to go back to the drawing board in this round. What are they going to do to respond? An opening pick desperately needed. And Reiko might be the man for the job. Of course, Stomp Zorp is still roaming. He's been great at finding these opening picks, especially outside, especially towards that A bomb site. We saw 3 stunning flicks. If he hits that right now, it might all be over for WISLA. Nevertheless, Sparrow's going to be the first man to try and get the job done. Has to catch them both off the cross, and he is no later to the party. He hits his shot. Stomp misses one likewise. It's 14-14, all wrapped up.
This is looking dire now. I mean, HONORIS have nothing left. What do you do here? You have to basically accept that it's going to be an eco, and you're going to fight 15-15. That, or you force up and try and win the round with just Eagles alone.
I don't know. I think you've got a dilemma on the cards either way. I think you might even have to just play for overtime at this point. That is what HONORIS have decided to do. That puts them in a dangerous position to these nades, and that's exactly why. Neo has caught 4 or 5 nades to the face this half. This time, Sparrow is able to rack one of his own up. That's a messy shot. Stomp the AK in hand. Unable to get away. HONORIS need to salvage that right now if they've got any chance of this round. And that Molotov's going to stop the AK from falling foul into anyone's hands. Taz trying to go for a gimmicky play, but with nobody rotating through vents, this is all over. And he is a million miles away from making this round work. With 25 seconds left on this bomb, it's a guaranteed defuse as Hades shuts Taz down. 15 to WISLA. As they're 1 away from closing out Nuke and taking us to train that would be our second best of 3, going all 3 maps of the day.
What a day it has been. Both best of 3s have been extremely close. It's tough to say if this is going to be an OT fiasco or if it's going to be a third map on train. It really is tough to say at this point. At least HONORIS have the tools to compete now, rather than just being on the pistols, but was the save even worth it? Only time will tell. Hades again with the aggression, but this time met with no response, which means he's likely just going to keep his foot on the gas and just keep rolling. Eventually, he'll find someone.
So risky. Sparrow sees the cross outside, and Jedka's here to respond. This is a great crossfire that HONORIS are going to have to play magnificently to get out of. They've snuck their way down to hell, and Jedka gets caught off guard. Pants down, Sparrow responds. There's the 1-to-1 trade, and all over this map right now, all 8 remaining players are looking towards this A bomb site. The bomb is actually a million miles away from this entry pack out on A. They need to go for this rotation back over, and Taz finally through. Prism finds the headshot. And it leaves us in a 3v2. Sparrow closes. This is so back and forth. Taz a final headshot. He needs just one more. Sparrow's right up above. He gets caught out. We're going to bonus rounds, Flakes.
Absolute insanity. It's MR3, 16k. That is going to be the tale we now get to see. Only worrying about the gun rounds, which I'm struggling to put my finger on who that actually favours more between these two teams, because they've both had their successes on the gun rounds recently. It's just been a bit ebb and flow. It's not been like WISLA have relied on beating pistols to get here. Yes, they've benefited from a few sort of eco rounds, but likewise, HONORIS did much of the same when they had their success. So I think this is going to be just an all-out battle. Nothing is decided yet.
This is when things get a lot more difficult, where pressure starts to perhaps make you pay the price. Taz and Neo are obviously feeling no pressure right now. They've been on the main stage countless times. Some of the players on this WISLA roster as well have had their fair share of decently massive games. 15 to 15 further rounds. This is MR3, $16,000 starting cash. It's going to allow all 3 rounds, all 3 buys. Let's see how HONORIS respond, whether they change anything up here. I would suggest possibly not. 9 to 6, second half, after being so far behind. Yes, the pistol trio. Remember, I think that WISLA have a slight upper hand. They took more gun rounds overall, considering HONORIS needed both pistols and the follow-ups to get to 15. So here I think that there's an inherent advantage to the favorites. But it's such a coin flip. 15-15, all to play for.
Al's going to get himself down the ladder here, it seems. Very undecided on where he wants to head. A deep secret smoke, it seems. Rather than a wall of smoke, completely smoking out the entrance of it. Much more aggressive option from the standard smoke, but it does mean less information given up to the CT side, who are then completely blindsided. Jekka Fnatic will respond, but it's a trading affair for HONORIS that keeps them ahead here, 3 for 2. Minio will be coming up and above. Perhaps he can catch them by surprise, but instead opts to wait for Spiro, which is a bit of a double-edged sword because his position is revealed. It also means they lose the lack of surprise from heaven, but, well, who needs that when you can hit your shots? Minio forcing the first kill. The defuse still baited as Stomp's position clearly known at this point. He's trying to go for the wall bang, but it's just not connecting. Ooh. Close, but not quite close enough.
No cigar that time. 16 to 15, WISLA. It was a 2v3 that they were able to pull back. Taz and Neo, the top fraggers here in this map, still alive. Cannot get the job done, leaving it to Stomp. HONORIS falling ever so slightly behind, and after such a good T side, those are the rounds that really do matter. Statistically, I guess you're looking for 2 T-sided rounds. Over time, especially 16k, changes the pace. Even trading, HONORIS, they get ever so close. Stomp finding another kill as well definitely opens things up. WISLA playing with one-man disadvantages every single time. It's only a matter of time before you start to lose these sort of scenarios. They've been winning and winning. Nevertheless, HONORIS, a one-man advantage now. They've got to make their play.
Slow and steady. Once more the approach from WISLA, who seem to be king of the retake here. They don't tend to fight too much against HONORIS' T side before the bomb goes down. It all seems to be the retake game for them. Downside for HONORIS is none of them are actually on the site. They're playing quite passively from door, forcing the push. Now, the bomb is planted for them, sure. Thankfully, the smokes that have been used, they're already out of position, but this is going to get pretty hectic here. Nothing connects to WISLA, though. Every single frag goes the way of the terrorists, and we tie things up once more, 16-16.
Felt like a pretty faint, limp retake there. Nobody from WISLA were into that bomb site until the bomb only had 12 seconds left to tick. That practically doesn't give you any time to deal any damage. And in overtime like this, when money doesn't become a factor, it doesn't give HONORIS any reason to peek. You see that they stuck to their guns, keeping to their angles, playing it perfectly right there. More entries needed, and it has to be right through this Molotov to do the damage. Minio, one, and gets away. Scot-free, caution back, but Stomp, what a shot. That was right through the wall. A crazy wall bang to level up the numbers. That's the B site gone again. And HONORIS, a real chance now of doing some decent damage. All 3 overtime T-sided rounds resulting in afterplants. And they've got to close this one away once again. Sparrow hits a shot in the meantime. That's Neo's head eliminated from the server. A 3 versus 3. As the numbers close once again. Stomp shuts away 2, and this half is done. 17 to HONORIS, a slight lead, a 1-round advantage as we go through to half number 2 of OT.
I find it so interesting how HONORIS are able to get the plant down every single time. WISLA just playing retakes on B like no tomorrow, and that's why pretty much every round is designated towards that B site. Sort of same thing in regulation time as well. It's a surprising trait of the WISLA CT side, but well, let's look aside now to our second half and see how the rounds play out when the tables are turned. Of course, 17-16. Not long now until second OT will have to be decided.
This is starting to get exciting. That could have been all 3 rounds to HONORIS right there. A 2v3 that would have went the other way. A massive clutch from WISLA, pretty much, when you put it in context, has kept them in this game. Otherwise, it would have been 18-15. HONORIS 1 out of 3 would have closed it. Now they actually need a serviceable CT side. They've got Stomp's AWP. He's stepped up. He'll look to do some of the initial damage. And what is WISLA going to do? Remember, it's been some time since they played this T side. Stomp's going right for the sucker punch. It's a leg. He doesn't connect. Jedka's able to slam him away. And with 15 HP, it's Ryko to trade it up. I don't know who this favors.
Neo sneaks in for a peek, gets just another frag, and looks like he's going to pop flash himself for more. This could be tasty. Just gets another frag before sliding away through the flames. A completely untradeable kill. That's HONORIS up for an 18-16. Spiro and Hades desperate to try and save the day here, but it's going to be a tough sell, especially with Spiro hitting the deck.
How many times are you going to give Hades a chance? That jump, relentless. Going to give him any opportunity in a 1 versus 4 here. Taz teasing as the time ticking. Hades needs this shot. He misses. It's 18-16 flakes. Like that retake earlier, this game would be very over. This play almost did it all. Neo so close to finding even more than just a second here. You see, pops a couple of following bullets in, so close to connecting with the heads. 1 out of 2. That's all HONORIS needs. Oh, I love this from Stomp. He's got all of the information. As the smoke blooms, the shot fires. He misses by a whisker. And he can call the information now. There's at least 1 down in towards Secret. This is a bit of map control from WISLA. Remember on their T side earlier? It was all about that map control. dictating the pace, controlling the rotates, but it's Neo again to find the opener.
One minute to work with. WISLA already at a disadvantage. Thankfully able to claw it back. Finally, some positivity claimed in the round, but more to be done here. A lot more, as so far we haven't seen any signs of WISLA being able to get to a bomb site and punch in those numbers on the bomb, which, well, it's kind of an important piece of the T side, has to be said. Fnatic finding Neo certainly starts to help, though, starts to weaken the CT forces, but Taz already looking to bring things back into contention as he whittles down the forces once more. Stomp Dying Heaven, though, does open up A site completely.
And that once again closes it down. 18-17. Overtime or bust. Double overtime or bust. And here comes the pause. So a break of pace before we get into our potential final round of the day. HONORIS, obviously not wanting to see more overtime here. We've had 2 match points to close this one away. They're already a map up after squeaking through on Vertigo 16-14. Maybe even an unexpected result. Let's see if they've got what it takes to deliver double trouble here on Nuke. Shut WISLA down once again. On HLTV, they're massively ranked below WISLA. I said that's deceptive. They're a very new roster. They've been playing against a high tier of opposition and not meriting many wins this tournament. I definitely give them a lot more of an advantage against many of these teams. WISLA maybe being one of them. I'd say that this is a tight contest. You see those nades go away straight up. They want the flashbangs. They want the Molotovs, of course. This is all about the opening pick right now. Nobody wants to make the mistake. Nobody wants to be the chicken. Nobody wants to give up the ghost here in what could be the final round, especially on that T side. You see, slipping down into secret. Lyko knows that Sparrow's approaching. Molotov's going to give him away completely, but it allows him to sneak into position. He's right inside a fence and behind the pick, but Prism finds 3. That might be the game all done and dusted. Hades needs all of the kills. This has to be the quad, and it's just not going to happen. Taz, the captain, finishes him off. It's 19-17. Double overtime looked inevitable. But HONORIS says no. They take 1-0 in the Swiss system.
What a result. I mean, it was unclear at all points of the game, including an OT, if HONORIS really had what it took to close out this map. It was an all-out affair from both sides, but in the end, the assault came out on top for HONORIS. They pulled through at 19-17, and they took 2-0 after an incredibly long match.
It's amazing how much I love betting on esports. It's so cool. What's even better is when I can use Cash Out. Wait, you didn't know about Cash Out? Cash Out is when you can get your stake back even when your bet is going against you. Just one hit and your money is safe. So go to LOOT.BET to cash out now.